Hello, this is Problem Machine, and today we're going to play some more Super House of Dead Ninjas. So, last time I got to the boss, I'm pretty sure it was the boss, it sure looked like the boss, and I couldn't really figure out what I was supposed to do there. So I'm just gonna kind of keep on trying, and see if I can make any sense of it. I did notice, looking back, that it seemed like when he did the attack where he slammed his hand into the ground, that seemed to be when he took damage. So I'm going to be looking at that to try and ascertain vulnerabilities. I'm still confused about exactly how those porcupine guys work. Like, do they just keep on sliding forward after they die, and I run into their bodies? Okay. So yeah, I'll keep on trying the boss until I figure that out. And then... Ooh. Freaking cool. What's this guy say? Well, that sounds cool once I get it. So yeah, keep on trying for the boss, and then once I beat that final boss, I will go back and try and do the whole thing in one go, like from the start of the game. Okay, bombs are good. Though I still haven't really figured out when to use them for maximum effectiveness. Right now I still just kind of use bombs. Never. Oh. Okay, I got him first. For a second I was confused. I just avoid those guys as much as possible. They cause so many issues. Something that I kind of like about this game is that there's no real invulnerability time. Like, you have a little bit, but the enemies don't have any. And the thing that restricts how much damage you can do... Oops. Interesting. The thing that restricts how much damage you can do is just how quickly you can attack. Oops. Yeah, I gotta notice there's a difference between the red swinging blocks, which just keep on going around in a circle, and the gray ones, which swing back and forth. So I'm wondering, that was silly. I picked a fight I didn't need to, so do I just bomb that? Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot about what I was just talking about, which is easy to happen with this game. Hopefully it'll come up again. I don't know what these letters are for. I imagine they lead to some kind of secret or big bonus. And, you know, I haven't played since yesterday, so it's kind of only natural that there'd be some readjustment. something I like about the presentation of this is that I don't know how they handle music playback, but the music you can hear, if you're familiar with the sound of it, is all FM synthesis, which is sort of really typical of like the Sega Genesis era and a bunch of arcade games for around that time as well. And it has a very distinctive sound to it, and it's cool that they stuck so closely to that. It looks like I'm only missing one letter. But, you know, I don't know what that does, having or not having that, so whatever. That was probably not worth running in for the attack. I don't know if I'll even get to the boss at this rate. He turned around. I didn't expect him to. So, this isn't going to last very long, probably. But maybe I can figure something out about this fight in the time I have. Does this do damage? I didn't even see that frog. I tried to use the magic there to give me some invulnerability, but that might not have helped anyway.
Item unlocked.
Apparently I unlocked a couple things here. Let's see, what do we got? Oops. I always lose the cursor. Explodes after it comes to rest. I guess that means it has a shorter fuse, like you just toss it in out. When it says comes to rest, does it just mean like as soon as it lands? Because that sort of implies that it sort of bounces around a bit and then explodes, but I don't know. Let's try it out. Let's see what we see. Let's go to the whip for a little while. Get a little bit of extra life to commemorate how many times I've died. So I can be proud of that, I suppose. Out of curiosity, does it say what I got this for? Okay, I played the game 10 times. So I can be proud of that too. Persistence, if nothing else.
There is no place for you here.
Oh, that was not a destructible enemy. And he was gray too, so I don't even have the excuse I had last time. Not having that cue. The thing is, as much as I appreciate sort of the, oh, interesting. Okay. I don't know what it means by gliding. But even though I like sort of the aesthetic commitment of FM synthesis, I don't actually like the way FM synthesis sounds at all. I think games that use it always sound kind of weird. And, so, you know, even though I appreciate that they made that commitment, in terms of actual listening, like I like the menu music a lot, but some of this tower music, I don't know, doesn't work so much for me. That's only partially the synthesis, you know. An interesting sounding track is an interesting sounding, kind of regardless of the instrumentation a lot of the time. Oh. Not great. Not off to a great start here. Oh, what's this? Is that just a big bonus? I didn't know those guys took 2 hits. I'd always used the spinning / dropping attack on them before. What's this? Is this anything? Oh, I see. It's a little trap door.
Gnarly. Time.
Oh.
No.
Like, you know, it may be that I was grasping at something that wasn't quite accurate when I was complaining about the palette choices. It may be that there's some other visual cue that I'm missing for a lot of these enemies. This actually reminds me of I was talking about with Downwell, how, you know, Downwell basically, the art design of it only has 3 colors, which is, well, 4 later in the game, but as you start out, only 3, which, god damn it, it means that you pretty much know what everything is, behavior is going to be just by looking at it, and you don't need to look at it for any long period of time. Bombs, okay. Like, oh, the saw. Like, basically in Downwell, something is either white, which means it's safe to touch, red, or which means it's not, or later on you get blue, which means it's water, and has special sort of water behaviors. And, you know, that I said 4, and that's because there's also black for all the background stuff. And actually, you can change these palettes later on. You, like, unlock additional palettes, which most of which are not really as good as the starting palette, but a few of them are nice. This run is not going well.
Bonus.
So it's difficult to achieve something like what Downwell did without restricting your palette to like 4 colors.
Item unlocked.
Okay. Okay, back to the boss. This doesn't look very promising, but oh well. I thought that I jumped too high and hit the spikes, which I totally didn't, but for some reason I thought I did. I do really like the extra weapon that you get on this thing. Especially for guys like this, where just running into him is such a problem for me. Oh, this is going even more poorly than last time. Especially when you consider that I have more lives this time. Well, this is not going to be a win. I can commit to that being the case. What's he going to do? See, how do I know where he's going to attack there? And how can I possibly keep this from being an instant kill? I don't know. So grenades seem like bombs, but worse. So I'm just gonna go back to the normal bomb. I mean, it comes up so rarely, but... Huh. Well, time hasn't been a problem for me so far, since I tend to be, like, reckless to the point of stupidity, but hey, you know. Well, actually, I was about to say it's better to have it than not, but actually, since it replaces drops that might be more useful. That might not be. Oh, I thought the bomb would completely destroy him. So I don't know if that only ends up replacing normal time drops, then that's not a problem. If that ends up replacing this one always kills me. Ends up replacing other drops that are more useful in my playstyle, then that's not great. What? He can walk right over spikes? Fuck that. Cheater. That skeleton bleeds an awful lot, you know, for a skeleton. I don't really like these chest rooms. They're just kind of weird. I guess it's nice to have a moment to take it to like slow down a bit, but the whole thing with the 3 different items that are practically indistinguishable from each other. Oh, that's interesting. So you can hold the bomb button to toss them further. Oh, interesting. I didn't even realize up until now that you can't attack normally while you're doing a downwards attack, which usually is the issue because it completes so quickly that you have no opportunity to want to use one. Like you're either hitting them with your spinning attack or you're hitting the ground. Am I running out of time? Shit. Okay. I didn't realize that running out of time just costs you 1 life. That seems, like not that big a deal, considering how many I go through normally. Okay, I wanted to try that just because there are those chests around and I think they're just background objects, but, like, I'm just gonna say this. Game designers, don't make chests background objects unless there's nothing like a chest in your game anywhere. Just don't. I mean, it's more trouble than it's worth. I mean, what a lot of this stuff makes me think of is in Dark Souls 2. There's a room that's full of gold. But gold is not something that's actually worth anything in the world of Dark Souls 2.
Oh no.
I missed. The arc on the whip messes me up sometimes. Like, it leaves it sort of a dead zone right in front of you. But anyway, so because gold is, a completely worthless thing within the world of Dark Souls 2, like both story-wise and gameplay-wise, there's nothing special about it. It's just, it kind of gives the impression of, it emphasizes that disconnect between sort of the world that you're in now and the normal world of living. But most importantly, you know that it's not something you want to pick up because it's not communicated to you that it is ever anywhere else in the game. Whereas if there was a box that looked a lot like a chest in Dark Souls, it would be extremely confusing because you grab chests all the time. He has a little bit of the Vile thing, like the problem I was having with Vile, where you you don't know when he's going to jump, and sometimes you need to jump over him. I'm going in for it, too late. Like that. Like, how do I know he's gonna jump there? Ah, terrible. But at least I'll be close to full for the boss. There we go. I just whipped my own head. Oops. I think that did damage. How the hell am I supposed to avoid that? Oh, I see, I can stand on them. Oh, they float. Okay, now I know. Okay, this just got a lot more doable. It's gonna get harder once I run out of shuriken. Oops. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna win this one. Those fucking frogs. Okay, but I feel like I get this guy now. I was just not understanding what I was trying to do before. So this makes things just so much more feasible. I mean, I did most of the rest of that boss. Oops. Like, after I figured out that boss, like what you do to do damage, I did most of him without getting hit. So, I think I got a good shot at him this time. So I didn't really comment on it at the time, but as you may have noticed, I experimented with bombing spikes, and that works, which is good to know.
Magic.
Oh! Okay, you also can't grab against walls once you start that downward attack. So that's probably going to be a way I die a lot, is by starting a downward attack and not being able to cancel out of it. Ah, terrible. I mean, that's why that spike drop trap is my greatest nemesis. Oh, I didn't notice it over there. I think the reason why I run into that problem so much in this game, more than I do in Downwell, is because in Downwell you always know what direction to look in. Whereas in this game, you know you're going down, but you need to look to... Oh, so that's what those guys do. You need to be able to look to the sides in a way. This seems suspicious. I guess not. I was thinking maybe I could go outside the tower there, which would be interesting.
Bonus.
So you always know where the threat is coming from in Downwell, whereas you don't really in this game. Careful of that, yeah. That's right, I should turn off the slowdown. Okay. So far this is going pretty well.
One up.
Okay. Something I really like about the design of this game is that the way that they made it so the downward attack and the spinning attack and all that will always kill in one hit. It means that you really can just keep on moving. Oh, that was not a good way to handle that. So yeah, I think a lot of my earlier sort of musings on the visual design were maybe more just about having my attention shifted in a bunch of different directions and not really being able to know. Oops, went over my head. Not really being able to know what to focus on. Okay. Boss time. That's not great. I mean, this guy is still kind of tricky just because, well, partially the vial problem, as mentioned before, and also just his tendency to stand still and make you attack him is actually difficult to handle in this game with its momentum. I mean, you'd think that would be really easy to deal with. But it turns out somebody just suddenly stopping. It's like you're driving and the guy in front of you just slams on his brakes. Okay. Now I should have a good shot at this. And at the same time, the game wants you to look at all the stats on the lower left there. This game wants you to look in like 5 directions at once. I think this is kind of the secret flaw of this game design. Because I think, you know, lots of people liked this game, but it didn't really catch on. I think that might be part of what... Oops! Too aggressive. I wanted to recover that shuriken. Yeah, they kind of disappear before it's safe to come back down. That's why I'm being very careful to make sure all of them hit. Yeah, didn't get there in time. There we are. The frog. Gotta be careful of the frog. Okay, looks like I'll have enough shuriken to finish him. It really gets a lot easier once you understand what you need to do. Most of the problem I was running into is just that it was hard to stay alive long enough to figure it out. Okay, one more round should do it. Ah! Ooh. But, you know, There we go.
Unlocked.
Let's see what sort of an ending we get. Not much of one. Hard mode for the true ending. Okay, I see how it is. I see how it is. Well, okay, so that'll do it for this episode, and then for the next one, I'll either look into hard mode or look into doing it from the start or whatever it takes to do the next thing I want to do in the game. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.